Finding Hope, the Road to Recovery.
Hello, my name is Cassidy Todd, and I'm the Associate Director of Youth Services with Tarzana Treatment Centers. And welcome to Finding Hope, the Road to Recovery. This is an ongoing video collaboration between Ayeneh and Tarzana Treatment Centers. We're lucky today to have Jonathan Tionqco with us, and Jonathan is the founding principal and executive director of Alliance Marine Innovation and Technology School. The title of today's episode is SUD Counseling Services in a School Setting. So to start us off, Jonathan, I want to get just your perspective and a little bit more information behind Alliance MIT. So can you just share the story behind this school and how it started? How did its mission initiate?
For sure, and just want to say thank you for having me on the show. Love being here. And we started Alliance Marine Innovation and Technology 6-12 Complex, Alliance MIT for short. We started it 11 years ago in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. We're based in Sun Valley. We're part of a larger charter network that largely supported schools in Los Angeles. And so we were venturing out to start the first school complex in the San Fernando Valley. And our mission, just like every other Alliance school, has been to create opportunities for scholars to go to college, to support them with being college and career ready. And we specifically target the areas and communities of Los Angeles that have been historically underserved, under-resourced, and we go into these communities and have been very successful in helping our scholars graduate from high school, go on to college, and have very successful careers. And so our mission is really about uplifting communities and supporting our young people to be the best versions of themselves. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. And I've been to this school, to this complex at least before, so I've seen firsthand just how incredible some of these youth are and how innovative they are. What do you think makes your school community unique when compared to some of the other middle schools or high schools in Los Angeles County?
Yes. When I think about Alliance MIT for our middle school and our high school, one of the major innovative features is our STEAM focus. A lot of schools say they do science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics. It's a really great tagline. It's something that families resonate with. They know what that generally sounds like. It's incredible what we're doing in grades 6 through 12 with our robotics and mechatronics programs. So with our STEAM programming, our scholars are able to they learn computer science, they learn programming and coding on top of being able to work with their hands. Like we look at it as a mix of like computer science programming and what I took as a high school course, like wood shop, metal shop. And so that infusion of hands-on learning and creativity, innovation with the new age technologies and AI, our scholars are programming and building the most incredible robots, mechatronics that I've ever seen. So students have made self-driving cars, different carnival games. One really cool invention that our kids made was like a hand, like a robotic hand, but it matched the movements of our students' hands. So like what the application would be in the future would be like if they were doing surgery and they were doing the surgery with their hands, with their physical hands, but an actual robot hand was doing the actual surgery would be a futuristic application of that. So our scholars are coming up with innovative solutions to problems that we're facing today. And so each semester there's a robotics mechatronics fair where our scholars have to present in front of real world audiences and share about their projects. And they're so excited, they're so passionate. So that the robotics mechatronics is definitely unique about our school. Our visual and performing arts programs, having art from grades 6 through 12. When budget cuts were hitting our schools, 10 and 20 years ago, what were the first classes that were gone? Were arts. And that took away an outlet for students to be brilliant in a different way that's not math and English. And so our students now have the opportunity to do art, to do performance, theater, play production, journalism, music, all in our school community. So there's a huge focus on STEAM. There's a huge focus on college and career preparatory curriculum. So we're seeing 95, 97% graduation rates and college going rates, which is unheard of for a lot of communities.
Yeah.
So we still have that focus. Our students are still getting into the best colleges. This week has been huge for us. Students are getting into UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC San Diego. I had a student get into Berkeley School of Music. I've got another student who's going to Columbia University in New York, full ride scholarship. So that is another unique aspect of our school. The other one is just around, we're a very small school. It's only 1,000+ students for 6 through 12. There are middle schools alone that have 1,000+ kids. There are high schools alone that have 2,000 to 3,000 kids. We're doing all of that in a smaller, more personalized setting where all of our teachers know our kids' names. We know the families. Families have been with us for multiple siblings. So that small school environment is another unique feature of our school, is the fact that we're going to get to know our community really well.
Yeah.
Another innovative thing is that even in a small school, we have all of the sports programming that most comprehensive high schools have. We are championship winning sports teams, soccer, even for a small school, competing in Division I. Back-to-back league champions for my boys and girls basketball, or league champions. My middle school girls, league champions. So we're offering all of the sports programs in a small school setting. And I think the last thing, and I know I've shared a lot, is we are a community school. School. We really believe that it takes a village to raise a child. And for us, we believe that education isn't just what happens in the classroom, within the walls of a school building. We really believe that we need to leverage the nonprofit organizations, the businesses, the companies, to really pour into my students, pour into our students, so they can have a well-rounded learning experience at our school.
Absolutely. And that last point is kind of how we initially got connected between Tarzana and Alliance, because there's shared visions, right? Like ultimately we want the youth and the families of our communities to thrive, to see beyond what has been laid out in front of them traditionally, and to really see a future for themselves. And that's exactly what you're doing with your scholars at your school, is giving them those opportunities, helping them see the possibilities for themselves. How do you think that they adapt coming into that type of environment? Because it sounds like there's so much support, there's so much opportunity. And for some of them that maybe started in middle school, some maybe high school, that might not have been where they were coming from previously in an academic setting. So how do you see that adaptation happen for the youth?
Well, one, we are blessed with incredible feeder programs, schools. So there's, Pacoima Charter, Montague Charter, the Fenton schools, Fernangeles, all of the local schools. We have really great relationships with the feeder school community, because we really want to get involved in supporting the scholars as early as possible. So a lot of our students come from feeder schools that we get a lot of students from. But for the ones who aren't from a traditional feeder, it can be a transition, right? And so for us, we really push that college and career mindset day one. And day one isn't the first day of school. Day one is when they sign on and officially join our school. For many of them, it's in March before the school year hits. We're already doing registration fairs, orientation, meet and greets. They're invited to our STEM, or our STEAM and robotics mechatronics symposium. They go to our summer bridge. Day one, is way earlier than actual first day of school.
Yeah.
And so we really support with the transition, that bridge,
Mm-hmm.
to making sure that our students can transition well and understand the amazing culture and supportive environment that they're about to enter.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So it really is kind of an early intervention model.
Yeah.
Is what you're adopting as
Yeah.
well. How do you think that you and your administrators and the folks involved with the school prioritize health and wellness for the students and the families?
Yeah. I think what the pandemic unfortunately taught us, or that the pandemic was obviously terrible,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a lot of struggle and a lot of loss. One of the things that I personally learned from it was to slow down. For a lot of my career, I had always been like grind every single day,
Mm-hmm.
work my rear to the like day and night.
Mm-hmm.
And the pandemic actually made me slow down. And I think for me, it was a reflective period. But I think also for a lot of our students, our families, our staff members, I think we all collectively had to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And we all collectively had to look after our health. There were a lot of students, family members who had experienced like sadness,
Mm-hmm.
loneliness, depression. And so for us, it was really about like when our students come back to us, we want to make sure that they are well. And that's physically, that's mentally, emotionally, et cetera. And that we're supporting the whole child,
Mm-hmm.
the whole parent. Like, because, yeah, we do a lot for our kids. We do a lot for our students. But I think one of the things that we need to remember,
Mm-hmm.
that was a really tough pandemic for the parents.
Yeah.
For a lot of us as parents, because we're older, we lost family members.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to figure out how to raise children during a very difficult time, homeschooling our kids essentially, while also making sure that we had the supplies, the PPE, the materials we needed.
Yeah.
And so we actually invest a lot in parent support,
Mm-hmm.
parent education, parent workshops, parent wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the parents are good, kind of like the airlines, right? Like, when they tell you about the air pressure,
Put the oxygen mask on yourself. Mm-hmm.
oxygen mask on
Yeah.
yourself. We want to model that in our schools.
Yeah.
And so we do that with our staff, we do it with our families, and we do it with our kids.
Definitely. And I think that it matches so much with what our value is at Tarzana Treatment Centers, because you can't remove a student, a child from their environment,
Yeah.
right? They're so bound by the systems that they're involved in. And you look at the time that a kid has each day, it's family and school. That's where they're spending their time for the most part. So for a school to say, hey, we're not just going to involve ourselves with the 8 hours that you're sitting here on campus, we're going to really try and make sure that your entire ecosystem has support so that when you leave us here, you're still good to go. You guys have things prepared. Your entire day is set up for success to help you get to where you need to be. And I think that's such an important concept that a lot of people don't consider when they're talking about youth wellness, is that it's not just the kid. It's not just, hey, here's a tutor, here's this. It's making sure that their whole system can keep supporting them. So I really applaud all of the work that you guys do in that arena as well, because you can't ignore the family, you can't ignore the context.
Yeah.
You can do everything you can in your walls, but once they walk out, they're out of your walls, right?
Yes.
What do you think what are some of the biggest challenges that you think your families continue to face, and how does your school work to try and minimize those challenges?
There's like I said, we serve a population that has generally been more largely low income.
Mm-hmm.
And so just the daily struggles of being in a low income environment, worrying about how am I going to pay rent this month?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to put food on the table? How am I going to make sure that my students have my children have clothes on their back?
Mm-hmm.
So those are all like really big challenges that our families face.
Mm-hmm.
And so parents are working 2 jobs. They're working odd hours at night, doing whatever they can to make ends meet. And so so we want to make sure that, like we talk about, it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Mm-hmm.
At the school, we are going to make sure that we meet as many of those needs as possible so the parents, at least for the time they're with us, don't have to worry about everything. So we make sure that we provide meals. We do breakfast, lunch, and supper available for our families, for our students. We make sure that there's counseling, psychologists, mental health supports on campus. We do an extended school day. So students are doing more of the work on campus where they have less homework. When a parent comes home from work and potentially, like I said, working 2 jobs, I don't want them to also be the algebra tutor or the trigonometry tutor or remember U.S. history and help their students with homework. I just want them to be able to relax, take care of whatever food or other responsibilities they need to, and just get to know their kid, talk to their child.
Yeah.
And so we really just try to take care of more of those like basic needs on campus. And then whenever our families need resources, so for our families that are experiencing homelessness, we've been really great about getting resources for our families, helping them find shelter, helping them find a place to live, or if they have a place and they are unfurnished, we've gotten beds, refrigerators, blankets, materials that they needed. For students that needed uniforms, or they can't go to the laundromat, don't have the quarters to do it, we actually provide uniforms on site. We do washing and dry, we do laundry service on site. And so those are all services that we provide to like try to minimize the burden as much as possible for our families.
Yeah, absolutely. That's phenomenal that you guys are able to do all of that for the families, because it really is. It's, you know, parents and families nowadays, there are so many things going on that impacts them. They have to focus on how am I getting day to day, right? And so by removing some of the other stuff, it might be important to them, but they don't have the time or the resources to think, how am I going to get my kid mental health support? How am I going to make sure my kid isn't smoking weed every day? How am I going to make sure that my kid is getting enough physical activity? Like, those are not the primary needs. Go back to Maslow's hierarchy, right? So for you to remove some of that, let them focus on those primary needs and connection. That those kids go home, they get to connect with their parents, with their family. Like, that's just completely invaluable. And I know in part 2, we're going to talk a bit more about the partnership between Tarzana and Alliance and how that fits into that picture a little bit. But I appreciate everything that you do for that community.
It is a pleasure. Like, and I was like, in Spanish, there's de nada, like you're welcome. But 20 years ago, I had heard a bunch of people saying es un placer. And like, whether I was at a restaurant or out, people would say es un placer, and I just internalized that. Like, no, it's not you're welcome. Like, it is a pleasure to be able to serve and support and love on our students and our families.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. That concludes part 1. So join us again for part 2, where we'll discuss a little bit more of the partnership between Alliance MIT and Tarzana Treatment Centers. Welcome back to Finding Hope, the Road to Recovery. Once again, I'm Cassidy, Todd with Tarzana Treatment Centers, and this episode is titled SED Counseling Services in a School Setting. I'm still here with Mr. Jonathan Tionqco from Alliance Marine Innovation and Technology. And in this part of the episode, we're going to be discussing a little bit further about the relationship between Alliance and Tarzana Treatment Centers. So we got a lot of information from you in part 1 about really the mission of the school and of the administration. And it really does tie in with Tarzana's mission of ultimately it's serve the community, show up for the community in the place that they need it. So this partnership started, I think probably about a year ago is when discussions started at that point. And it was ultimately decided that it would be beneficial to bring Tarzana Treatment Centers to the campus to be able to provide services for the families. So I want to hear from you a little bit, like what drove that decision for you and kind of allowing extra services now on campus for your students?
Yeah. So first I got to start with the people connected to Tarzana Treatment Center. So I met Mark through Kiwanis. Like it's a service organization. And so we had met through our Kiwanis club. And so we had connected there. And then he was telling me about the Tarzana Treatment Center. I was like, okay, I would love to partner. So we started talking about through Kiwanis, Tarzana Treatment Center. And I said, you know what? I need to connect you with some other people. And so I connected Mark Winkler to the Pacoima Community Initiative, where we would be able to introduce Tarzana Treatment Center to a lot of the other service providers in the Northeast Valley. So while I know Tarzana Treatment Center is largely West Valley, or the site that I knew of was West Valley, we wanted to we made that connection. And so I wanted Tarzana Treatment Center to be a part of the larger village in the Northeast Valley. And once we made that connection, we were like, we need to keep this going. And so that's when we started talking about how do we bring on Tarzana Treatment Center? How do we get your services? How do we get the supports? And then we just started talking about the idea of working with y'all to potentially bring support on campus. And for me, when Mark brought that up, when you all brought that up, I was ecstatic. And yeah, so that's how it all started. I've just always believed that good people know good people. And so when I found out about the people like you and everyone else, I like surrounding my kids and my families around good people. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And I know that it's been, as a long time in the making to be able to really make it happen. And all of our community partnerships, it really depends on the need of the system that we're partnering with. Of like, what can we support with? And very similar to your mentality and your school's mentality is like, where can we support? Where do we step in? Where can we assist? And so when it was determined that bringing actual substance use counseling to the campus would be something that was beneficial, I think we were very happy to be able to provide that service to your families, to your students. What do you think is your hope in being able to provide that type of service on campus? What change do you hope to see, or what do you hope for your students that have access to that now?
Yeah, so like I talked about before, the pandemic did raise levels of sadness, of loneliness, and of depression. And unfortunately for young people, sometimes to alleviate some of that stress or some of that difficulty, they turn to things like drugs, like vapes. And so we saw an actual uptick in the usage post-pandemic. We saw more incidents of vape use. And this was not just an Alliance MIT thing. This is across the country. We were seeing this across the country. All of my colleagues in secondary schools, middle schools, high schools, and even talking to elementary colleagues, now seeing it in 4th and 5th grade. To me, that was like, we could not continue on that trajectory. And so the hope in working with Tarzana Treatment Center with the substance use counselors was, we need to minimize that. We need to bring this down. We need to find alternative ways for our scholars to cope with those difficulties. And so we're already seeing the fruits of that partnership. I'm not sure, can I share?
Yeah.
No, just we've had the least amount of drug-related instances since pre-pandemic. And we really believe that it's because of having Ms. Cole on campus, having the partnership with TTC. We really believe that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so we'd rather address the issue before it becomes an actual issue. And so what I was hoping was to reduce the use of substances, and we are seeing that. And so I'm just really proud, especially when we do our district review of data. I'm so proud that we've had the least amount of incidents since the pandemic. And so I'm just really proud of that and just
Yeah.
very thankful for the partnership to make that happen.
Yeah, and I think it speaks so much to just the whole system, right? Because,
Yeah.
we've gone into multiple schools at this point, and it makes all the difference having a school system that gets why we're there and is 100% behind the mission, which, as you're saying, like, yes, reduce drug use, but really it's just give support to youth so they don't feel like that has to be an option for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this partnership has been able to work so well, because everyone is unified in what it is that we're trying to accomplish. And from Tarzana's side of things, we know that drug use, substance use, it's common amongst adolescents. It just is. There's no way around it, especially post-pandemic. There's a lot of access, unfortunately. We saw a lot of, during the pandemic, parents slowly kind of went back to work, but kids were still not on a campus for school, right? So now there's less supervision, less eyes on them. And then they go back to the school setting. That's a big transition. So I think that it just has become so normalized among adolescents. And I hate the word normal because I don't want to, stigmatize any specific behavior. But I think having this kind of partnership where we can have someone there to reduce the stigma and say, hey, if this is something you're struggling with, guess what? I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here to listen. I'm here to support you. If it's not, and you just want to know about it, you can ask questions about it. And really just opening the door for conversation so they don't feel like it's taboo. They don't feel like they're going to be put down on because they've smoked weed or they've thought about it, right? I think having that open dialogue with the youth and with families of like, hey, this stuff is out there. We know that. We're not going to pretend it's not.
Yes.
And we're here to support you when that stuff does come up. It makes a world of difference. I guess moving forward, what do you hope for any ongoing partnership, or what direction would you like to see it going in terms of additional services or education or anything like that with your students and families?
Yeah, so one, I really love the emphasis on the role as it's a counselor who happens to specialize in drug use, substance use. Now, Ms. Cole and all of the counselors and support team at Tarzana Treatment Center, I really look at them as they are counselors who guide, who mentor, who support, who just connect really well with our students and our young people. When I see Ms. Cole in the office, she's talking to all the kids. She's building relationships. And I think when we're addressing things like substance use or drug use, relationships matter. And so I'm just I just want to make sure I give that praise to you and your team. They're counselors. And so things that we're looking forward to continuing to expand the partnership that we've already started to see is workshops for groups of students, workshops for our parents. We loved having y'all come visit. So workshops for our families, workshops for our students, doing some small group support and preventative intervention would be a next step. And then just continuing to advertise and promote the work so that our community knows that we are being proactive in tackling this really difficult challenge that is pervasive in all schools across our country.
Absolutely. And like you were talking about before, kind of get at it before it becomes a crisis, before it's a huge problem is so important. Because if we can address some of these concerns with kids when they're 12, 13, 14, as opposed to 35, and this has now been going on for a couple of decades, the way that we can just open up opportunities for their future is exponential. And there's an old adage that says the opposite of addiction isn't actually sobriety, it's connection. And I think that's really what we're talking about here is just opening dialogue, increasing connection and support, and connecting the entire system together so that everyone feels like they have what they need out of it. And that's really what we hope for at the end of the day is just support, making sure that everyone has an opportunity for a full future. And we really appreciate the partnership. I think your students are really great. Every time I go there, they're so cool. They're showing me all of their new inventions and all of that stuff. It's so cool to see kids have so much joy in the things that they're learning and doing. And we're very proud to be a part of that with your school system as well.
Absolutely.
So in terms of, trends that you're seeing on campus with your scholars and with your families around themes of like health and wellness. What do you think is the biggest need right now for your students across the board?
Yeah, it's continuing to recover from the pandemic, and so just building up the social emotional well-being of our scholars. But I think the next step now, and so I'm really trying to push this, is like just continuing to build grit and like resilience, determination, and we're slowly rebuilding that for our young people. They're exposed to a lot of things that we weren't exposed to, like social media, like you know the amount of pressure that comes from seeing all these social media posts, or the potential cyberbullying that happens with social media, that breaks kids down. And so just like being able to push through, like teaching resilience, persistence, even in the face of like whether it's social media drama or not doing well on a test or not winning the game at your sporting event or soccer or basketball tournament. Just how do you bounce back? So that's a big thing that we're working on with our middle school and high school students, is making sure that like life is hard, that like understanding that life is hard. There's going to be failure. There's going to be setbacks. How do you bounce back? How do you recover? And how do you come back even stronger the next time? And so that's just the universal teaching and focus of our school. Like one of the few things that we do, like we've banned cell phones on campus, because I want students to not have those distractions, but also not have the pressure of social media. But also because I want them to communicate and engage. I want my kids to one day be able to sit on a show like this and be able to carry on a conversation. Because those are the skills: communication, collaboration, eye contact, being able to connect with people. Those are things, at least right now, that can't be replaced by AI. And so I want to be able to build skills that scholars can have, or students can have, that can help them be successful in school, but also have a long and successful career.
Definitely. And I like that you pointed out that it's not just about telling them, oh, it'll be okay, you've got this. I think those were maybe adages from when I was growing up, at least. You heard a lot more of that, where it came across as like encouragement, but it's dismissing what's actually happening for that person. Like you're pointing out, a lot of these kids, not just within Alliance MIT, but like across the valley, they're faced with things that there is no way to work around and say, hey, that's okay. It's just not. They're faced with a lot of challenges. So I think to acknowledge it and to say things are really hard and things are unfair. And I really believe that we're going to be able to get you to stand right back up and face those things head on. I think that's where the real change can happen with youth, because as soon as they believe that they can stand back up and keep going, they're so much less likely to turn to things like drugs, like other maladaptive coping skills, or more unfortunate ways of life, because they believe in themselves. They see a hope for themselves that, sometimes I think it's dismissed. We forget that like everyone just needs hope, right? Do you think that you've seen that resilience grow in your youth in the time that they've been within the school or post-pandemic? Have you seen that?
Yes. Yeah. So it's a thing that the kids know Mr. Tionqco is going to push us. He's going to push us. He's going to love us and remember and like understand the trauma or the challenge or difficulty that I'm facing. And we're going to move forward. We're going to grow. We're going to develop, and we are going to get better because of this, because we need to be better together. There are so many challenges out there. And so, I've seen my kids they're way stronger. They're way more resilient. But I also recognize there's still more to do. And so, like we say, we have this thing, it's like gratified, never satisfied. We are very happy with what we've been able to do and accomplish and do with young people. And we want to keep doing better.
There's always more to be done.
I
like that. And I think I like this idea of like accountability is love. Because it removes the idea that we have to give this like unconditional, oh no, you're doing so great, unconditional praise. It's like, no, we can hold the young people accountable for the things that are maybe bringing them harm or bringing others harm from a place of love. Because all that does, every time that we stand up and say, hey, I see you doing this thing, I get it, and I think that you can do differently. Yeah. That just teaches them, hey, someone actually believes that I'm capable of something different. Yeah. And they may not be getting that messaging from places like social media or whatever else they're exposed to, because we can't monitor that 24/7. Yeah. So I think sounds like that's exactly what you're doing, where it's like, I'm going to hold these kids accountable. I'm going to make sure that we're getting them on the right track, but I'm still going to show up for them day after day after day, and they're going to see that. And hopefully that gets into their little brains. Yeah,
and just, our theme for this year has been around, like, we are not the cool uncles or aunties. We are the parents.
Yeah.
I remembered when I transitioned from just being the cool uncle for my nephews and nieces to, like, when I became a parent. That role is so different. And so just like, we look at ourselves as the parents on campus every single day.
Yeah, which I'm sure your students feel. Yeah. They go there and they know that they're going to get love and support, and they're not going to get away with what they want to get away with.
Yes, yeah.
And that's something that I think, Miss Cole, who's our counselor on campus with you, really does well, is she is able to bridge the gap of really expressing care. Yep. For these kids, not just even at your school, but with all the youth that she works with, while never saying, but what you're doing is completely okay, which I think is what they look for sometimes. That's what youth think it means for someone to show up for them, is just like, oh, it's all okay. Yeah. We're not going to say that. We're not going to say that you going and hitting a vape in between classes because you can't manage the stress is okay. But what we are going to say is, we see you struggling, and I'm right here still. It doesn't mean I'm going to walk away from you. And that goes such a long way, and it carries with them into adulthood. They're going to face adversity. They have to know that they can stand up to it and come out the other side. Yeah. Is there any message that you think you would want to give to your families and students? Like, if they were to watch something like this, what would you want to be able to say to them of what you see in them?
No, just we love you, we believe in you, and like our motto says, we are always ready. And so just always ready to support, always ready to push. And just, my students, when they leave us, I want them to be college, career, and life ready.
Definitely. And that can be so many different things for each of them.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much again for all of your support of the community. We're really happy to have this partnership, and it kind of takes us out of, our space in the Valley and expands a little bit more, because substance use is pervasive. It is not a pocketed thing. And we're really happy to be working with partners that see the mission, see the value, and are excited to keep moving forward with the youth of our community. This concludes our episode for today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.
Brought to you by Tarzana Treatment Centers. You can visit our website at www.tarzanatc.org or call 1-800-996-1051.